well and getting back to a little bit of normality. I thought today we would do a little bit of a stamina class, so we're going to be doing some different sequences of the same exercise, if that makes sense. So we've done it before in class. So we're going to do our warm-up down on the mat, but before we go down onto the mat, we'll just start with our roll downs. So just take feet hip width apart, just start to allow them just to sink nicely down into the mat. Just start to think about the shoulders, just gently dropping down the back and taking some breaths. So remember, as you're taking your breaths, you want to feel as you inhale that your ribs are coming out to the side. As you exhale, they're coming back into their normal position. So just trying to get a nice pattern going with your breathing. And then for your roll downs, make sure that the knees are nice and soft and you're thinking about a sequence of movement through your spine rather than how far down you can get. So what we don't want is that you're pushing your knees into a hyperextended position or you're pushing your tailbone out behind you. You want to keep those nicely stacked above the feet. So we're going to do 3 in your own time. So if you inhale to prepare, as you exhale, just start to tuck the chin and just peeling the spine, 1 vertebra at a time. Remember, keeping those knees soft so you don't want to push them out behind you. Arms nice and heavy. When you get to the bottom, if you want, you can give your arms a little circle, just loosen those shoulders a little bit. Inhale, as you exhale, starting to just restack that spine, 1 vertebra at a time, until you come back into your standing position. And then we'll do 2 more. So take a breath before you start, exhale and begin to unstack that spine. Making sure that the arms are hanging nice and heavy, there's no tension through those shoulders. As I say, you're just working within your own body. Don't feel like you've got to get right down to the floor. It's more about a sequence of movement through that spine. It's really learning how to control the body. So, as with all your Pilates exercises, the more slowly and precisely you do them, the more benefit you'll get from them. So really try and visualise your spine, each little bone, and it's just being peeled 1 at a time off the bone below. And then circle the arms at the bottom, and then just restack that spine 1 vertebra at a time. Through your back up into your standing position. Okay, and then we'll make our way down onto the mat onto our backs. We'll just have a quick run through the body just to warm up. So have the feet hip width apart again. Make sure the knees and hips are in a nice line. Walk those shoulders down the mat so they're not creeping up towards the ears. Just take a couple of minutes, just get that breath flow. You can take your hands across your ribs if you want to, with the fingers meeting in the middle. And as you inhale, you just feel the fingers gently coming apart. As you exhale, you feel them gently coming back together again. So don't force the breath, just allow it to just travel. And then just try and keep your breathing in a nice pattern. And we'll just start with the head. So it's going to gently tuck the chin down towards the chest without the head lifting. So we don't want the head lifting off the mat. And then we're just gently tilting in the opposite direction. So as you're doing this, you're trying to imagine the length of your neck increasing. So just feel That neck start to lengthen. And then we just come back just into your starting position. So hopefully your neck should feel a little bit longer now. And then we just come on to these shoulders. So for this one, make sure that you don't lift and move your shoulders back. Think about the shoulders staying stable. Imagine those shoulder blades are just velcro down onto that mat. I'm going to just come into some big circles with those arms. Oops, try not to knock my screen over. And you can use your breathing in time with your movement. So you can take an in breath for a circle and an out breath for a circle. And then we'll have a little change of direction, so you're going to go in the opposite direction. So you might find that now they've loosened up a little bit if you just brush the fingers along the floor. So you're really getting that big movement through those shoulders. We're going to do one more circle. Back to your starting position. Just remember, make sure those shoulders stay nicely walked down the mat. And then we'll just come down onto your feet, so just some heel lifts. Just get those ankles warmed up a little bit. We can just start now, just starting to get the core muscles switched on, a little bit of a tuck back with the tummy button, or imagine just drawing up your pelvic floor. So just about 30% of your effort, so you don't want to be drawing back so much that you can't breathe, but you just want to be able to activate all those muscles around the trunk. Okay, and then we'll just take those feet back down onto the floor. We're just going to just walk your feet together and just going to allow those knees just to gently fall out to the side. So again, don't force the movement. You just want to work within your own body. You want to just feel a nice stretch down that inner thigh. Take some breaths. Watch your feet don't slip down the mat. I'm going to slide here. Try not to tense up through those glute muscles for this, just allow the knees just gently fall out to the mat. Take some breaths. Inhale, as you exhale, just draw those knees back into centre again. And then we're just going to do a couple of repetitions of that. As you draw your knees back in, really think about just drawing back that tummy button, just so you're staying nice and stable through the centre. And again, now draw back to that centre. Inhale, exhale, knees back into the middle. And we'll just do one more of those again. You can tuck back the tummy button, allow those knees to fall out to the side. So you want the soles of the feet together. Then we'll draw back the tummy button and bring those knees back into the centre. And then just walk your feet back out to hip width apart, and we'll just start to find that neutral pelvis. So just gently loosening up that lower back, just by tilting those hip bones up towards the head, gently down towards the feet. So trying to keep the pelvis nice and central, so you're not veering off diagonally to one side or lifting one hip. So you can just put your hands gently on the hips, just make sure they're staying nice and level. So as well as finding your optimum position for your back, you're also just loosening the lower back off and just getting some awareness of where that pelvis is. Really important that your pelvis stays in a nice symmetrical position. And then just make the movement a little smaller and smaller each time. Just until you come to rest just somewhere in the centre. So you want to think about the hip bones pointing up towards the ceiling, but obviously everybody's got a different posture, so don't try and push yourself into an uncomfortable position. Okay, so we're just going to start off with our first set of exercises. So I'll talk you through it. Excuse me, I'm going to be looking at my watch because I need to time these. So your first exercises are, if you start in your double knee fold in your tabletop, so your first set of exercises is your toe dips. So remember, for your toe dips, you're not closing up the end of the knee, so we're not waggling the legs about, we're working from here. So that is your first exercise. So I'll count you through with the repetitions, but I'm going to show you each exercise in this little sequence. So your next exercise is a build up on that one. So you're going to come into your double knee fold again. You're going to put your arms up towards the ceiling. And then we're moving diagonal pairs. So you can either work with double knee fold into your toe dip, or if you prefer, you can take your leg into a straight position. Make sure you come to rest in between the leg swapping, so you're not just whizzing the legs about. We want to have that degree of stability through the centre. Okay, and then your third one is your step up from those exercises. So you're going to come up into a small Pilates sit-up. You're going to take your legs into a straight position, and you're going to start with one leg. Up here we're going to come into your scissors, so we're coming into your scissor exercise. So you can take the legs down, or you can just reduce the movement and just not quite down to the floor. Okay, so we will start off in your double knee fold position, and we'll start off with your toe dips. Okay, so I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, and we're off into our first set. So we're going to work for a minute in each position. You're going to have a little rest in between, because I would imagine by the time you're doing this exercise it's going to be about 30 degrees. I'm filming this in the morning, it's already getting quite warm. So remember, making sure you're breathing. Make sure you're not just waggling your legs about like so. Okay, about 10 seconds left on this one. Remember, you're in that neutral position. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and give those legs a little rest. So just give the back a little massage, and then we're going to go into our next exercise. So remember, you're coming into your dead bugs with the arms. So back into your double knee fold, arms up, and off we go. So diagonal pair, so remember you can either keep your knee bent, or you can straighten. So either bent knee. Remember, the pair that aren't moving, stay completely still. I know that sounds a bit double dipped, but we don't want to be waggling about arms and legs. Okay, and finish there. Okay, so bring those knees up. So you've got one more exercise in this sequence, well, in this first set of your sequence, and then we'll have a breather. So you're going to come up now into sit-up position. You're going to have one leg straight, well, both legs straight, but one leg up and one leg down, and off we go. So make sure that you're breathing. So you want to be working fairly slowly on this one, because remember, this is timed. The faster you go, the more you're going to have to do. So drawing back with that tummy button. Keep stopping, sorry, to check my watch. Not very good at multitasking in this heat. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so take a breather before we go on to our next set. If you want to just come into your cat stretch, just keep the back a little stretch off, you can. Or have a drink. Just give yourself a breather for a few minutes. Okay, so you've got about another minute rest, so just take time to get your breath back for a second. Try and think about maintaining that breath pattern again. Okay, so are we ready for our next little sequence? So same exercises. Remember, we're starting off in our double knee fold. Make sure you're in your neutral position, and off we go. So even though we're doing this as a timed section, try and think about your positioning, think about that connection with the core. Think when it's timed, everyone wants to automatically go quicker and quicker. The quicker you go, the more likelihood you're going to lose your position, it's going to be less effective. So breathe. Try and get a little pattern going with your movement and your breathing. Okay, we're almost there on this one. Okay, one more, and bring those knees up. Give the back a little bit of a massage. If you want to just take the legs straight, give the front of the hips a little bit of a breather. I know this one's quite heavy on the top of your legs, but all good. Okay, I'm going to come up into your dead bugs. So when you're ready, off you go. So remember, move slowly, have a little pause before you start with your other pair. And remember, you can either straighten, but making sure that that back doesn't arch through your exercise, especially as you start to get a bit more tired. Much better just to reduce your movement than start losing your positioning, giving yourself a bad back. pairing then, trying to multitask. And rest. Okay, take a couple of seconds before we go on to our scissors. If you want to straighten that leg, both legs just stretch off the front of the hip, then do. Take a couple of breaths. Okay, count you up now to your scissors. So 3, 2, 1, and off we go. So really focus on that breath flow. You'll find it really helps. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so have a little break now before we go on to our next one. So if you want to give your back a little stretch after your sit up, then do. And then just take a breather for a minute or so. And then we've got our last set in this sequence before we move on to our front. Okay, so remember, make sure you make that neutral position before you start your exercise. If you're exercising with your back in an arch, you're going to put a lot of pressure on that back, and you're also going to start doming your abs and building them into that position. So we want a nice neutral position. And again, you don't want to be pushing your back down or your pelvis to be tilting, and again, you're putting that undue pressure on your lower back. Okay, so where are we with my second hand? Right, so if we get into our starting position, and 3, 2, 1, into your toe dips. So remember, really try and use that breath flow. The more you can use the breath flow to help, the better. Especially if you're getting tired, it really helps. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest for a second or two. Give those legs a hug up, give your back a little bit of a stretch off. Take the legs into your straight position. Give the front of the hips a little rest. And then we're going to come into our dead bugs. So I'll give you another few seconds so we get to an appropriate time on the second hand. This is where I missed my phone, not being able to use a digital stopwatch, but unfortunately I'm using the phone to record, so I can't be in two places at once. Okay, so into your start position, and off we go. So either bent legs or straight legs. Remember that breath flow. We can intersperse bent and straight, you don't have to stick with one. Good, keep going, almost there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and knees up. Have a little breathe for a second. Okay, so almost done with this sequence. Just got one more left, and then we'll change positions. Give your 20 hips a quick stretch, quick breather. And then we'll come into your scissors. So remember coming into your slight sit-up position, and off we go. Breathe. Draw back with that tummy button. Keep going, almost there. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. That is the end of that sequence. You'll be pleased to know. Okay, so have a couple of minutes, breathe out just to get a drink, and give yourself a little stretch. So just come down into your cat position. Just give the back a nice stretch off. So just up towards the ceiling, gently dropping down towards that mat. Then you can just push back into your child's pose. When you're ready, we're going to change positions now. So we're going to come down onto your front and move that way so we end up hitting that. Okay. So we're going to do 2 exercises in this sequence. So now we're looking at lengthening through the spine. So we're starting off with fairly easy, fairly nice one, your diamond press. So I'll explain both exercises and then we'll start tidying. So remember, these exercises on your front are designed to lengthen through the spine. So you still want to think about that nice neutral position through the pelvis. If your pelvis starts tilting down towards your feet, your back's going to drop and you're going to be compressing those bones in the lower back, and if you're lifting too much and tilting up towards the head, you're going to be taking too much pressure on the top half of the body. So it's getting that balance. Think about, remember you've got a pin or something coming through, something sharp coming through the mat. You're just drawing those muscles away from it, those abdominal muscles. Switching on all these muscles and protecting that lower back. So we're going to inhale to prepare, hands in your diamond position. Draw a line with your nose. Tummy button tucked. Coming up into that stretch. Work within your own bodies. If you're getting any pain in your lower back, just reduce it. So don't even just come up this far as long as you're lengthening through that spine. So that's your first exercise, and I shall time you on these exercises. And then your next exercise, you're going to come into your breaststroke exercise. So starting with your arms at right angles, and then you're going to just gently lift the head and chest, tummy button tucked. You're taking the hands forward. This is almost if you're swimming. Then you're turning the hands over as if you're doing your breaststroke. And then you're turning back to the starting point and back down again. So the hands go forward, turned over, so you're pushing the water away, down towards your sides, and then turning, so palms facing down again. So we're going to do your 3 sets of those exercises, and we're going to time those exercises. So if you get into your diamond position, tuck your tummy button and draw that line with your nose, lengthen through the spine and pushing it up into your diamond press. Really focus on keeping that tummy button tucked back so you're not dropping it down onto the floor. And then, again. So these exercises, nice for lengthening the spine, also activating those abdominal muscles. So length, tummy button tucked. If you do get any pain in your lower back, just try activating that core, those abdominal muscles, just that little bit more, see if that helps. So length, draw the line, pushing up. Don't tilt your head back. Remember your neck is an extension of that spine, so you don't want to be breaking that line. Okay, I'm going to do one more, so tuck the tummy button away from the mat, lengthen, draw that line. Keep those abdominal muscles switched on, and back down again. Good. Okay, so we just plough on between these, we don't really need to have a rest between those two. So again, tucking that tummy button, lift, lengthen through the spine, pushing away, drawing back with the water, and back down again. If you prefer, you can stay up for this exercise, but make sure that you stay switched on through that core. If you start switching off, lowering and hurting your back, just come down in between. Okay, probably time for one more in this sequence. Keep switched on and back down. Okay, so we'll have a little breather in between. So just push back into your child's pose, keep the back in a flexion. You might find you feel that through the upper back as well, through your trapezius muscle, through your shoulders, which is quite normal. Okay, so we're going to go again with your diamond press. So get into that position, get that tummy button tucked away, and off we go, lengthen, hold. Don't allow that tummy button to drop down onto the mat. If you're finding it painful in your lower back, and just drop down a level and reduce your movement. You should feel those abdominal muscles just activating as you feel like you're drawing them away. No cheating, pushing through the feet either. Get those feet nice and light. Okay, and we've got time for one more in this sequence. So inhale, lengthen through that spine. And have a couple of seconds, breathe out before we move into our next exercise, which again is your breaststroke exercise. So take your arms out to the right angles, inhale, exhale, lengthen, push forward, sweep that water away. And again, lengthen through the spine, arms at right angles, reach away, pushing that water. Back to your start position. And keep that tummy button tucked away from that mat so you're not dropping those abs. So length, push away. Okay, one more. Back to your start position and down. Okay, have a couple of minutes breather. Well, not a couple of minutes actually, a couple of seconds. And we'll go on to our last set of those. So keep those feet nice and relaxed, no pushing down through the feet. You don't want your knees lifting. We're not concentrating on the bottom of the body, we're concentrating on the upper part of the body, not getting the bottom part of the body involved. Okay, so back into your diamond position. So working that tummy button away from the mat, lengthening, and coming up, nice and long. Make sure you're not pushing that neck back. And back down again. And again, engage through the centre. Coming up. And back down again. So you should feel a bit taller once you've done these exercises. Inhale, lengthen. So draw that line with that nose, tummy button tucked, pushing up, keep engaged through the centre. And back down again. We're going to do one more, so engage, tummy button tucked away, length through the spine, and push and hold for a second or two. Good, and back down again. Okay, so we'll finish off our last exercise on our fronts now, and then we're going to change positions. So arms out at your right angle position, tummy button tucked, draw that line with the nose, lift, reach, and push the water away and back. Again, length through the spine. Pushing that water away and then back to your start position. Again, tummy button tucked, long through the spine. Reach away, turn the hands over and back. toes, tuck the tummy button. Oh, mix up then. Reaching away, turn the hands over. Down to your start position. And last one. Tummy button tucked away. Lift. Reach. Turn the hands over, push away that water. Back to your starting position with the arms and down. Okay, well done. Right then. So just come up into your cat position, give that back a little stretch. Have a little break for a minute or two. And then we're going to go down onto our side for our final sequence. So while you're having your little breather, I will demonstrate your sideline exercises. So if you come down onto your side, think about that sideline position. So make sure you can see your toes just in front of you. So you want to be in a very slight banana shape. For this exercise, if you prefer, you can have your underneath leg bent, or you can have both legs straight. I'm going to come into your first exercise, will be your single leg lift. So make sure your legs stretched away nice and long, so you want to feel like that underneath waist is lifting. And then we're coming up just about to hip height, not too much higher. And then you're landing in the same place. So that is your first exercise. So first exercise is all about working this top leg. Next exercise is all about working that underneath leg. So coming into your double leg lift or torpedo, whatever you want to call it. So we're working now the inner thigh of the underneath leg. So we're lifting and lowering. So we're picking, effectively picking up your top leg with your underneath leg. Okay. If you want to make it a little more difficult, you can take your arm up over your head and come into your full torpedo. So we can, we'll play around with arm positions as we're going through the exercises. Okay, so your first exercise then is your single leg lift. So hopefully you're all in position, all ready for your next sequence. Make sure your hips stay stacked over each other. That little gap through, between your mat and your underneath waist. Okay, so we can take our arm up, or you can keep your arm on your body, or you can keep your arm in front of you if you need to. If you feel like you're really wobbling about, then just use that arm for stability. So we'll come into your sequence now. So keeping that top leg long, don't allow that top hip to draw up towards your ribs. Breathe. Making sure that your foot is landing and taking off in the same place. I haven't thought this through very well with my arm position because I now cannot see my watch. I'll try and guesstimate a little bit before I bring it down and have a look. So keep that tummy button tucked back, keep stable through the body. Give it a few seconds yet. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 more after this one. And have a quick rest. So you can just bend your legs, give them a little bit of a move around. Give that top one a little bit of a rest now. We'll work on that underneath one. So give yourself a little rub on your glute if you're getting a bit burning there. And again, remember thinking about the underneath leg. Make sure you can see your feet in front of you. So you can either start with your hand down or with your arm up, And we'll start now where you can take your arm up over your head. Or you can have your arm just resting on top of your body. So try and get that underneath leg doing the work for you. So breathe. Take the tension off your top leg. Okay, and we're going to do 2 more. And rest for a second or 2. That top leg, bit of a break before we put it back to work again. Okay, and nice straight legs again. Have a little look down at your feet. Make sure you're in a slight banana shape. And we'll go 3, 2, 1. Your top leg. So trying to focus on that leg landing and taking off in the same place. Making sure that you don't take the leg forward or back as you're lifting it. It's got to stay in that correct position. I reckon we can get 3 more in. So 2 more. Give that top leg a bit of a rest for a second or 2. I think looking at the time, I'm going to run over on an hour today, but sure it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to work on the underneath leg now. So remember this part of your underneath leg, that inner thigh. So when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, and off we go. So really try and switch off his top leg. I'm going to just try and imagine that's a dead weight. If you're still feeling burning in your hip, you know that you're using the top leg more than you should be. Remember, you can take your arm over and come into a full torpedo. Or you can take your arm up. Okay, so we can fit 3 more. So 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so give that leg a little bit of a breather for a second, and then we'll come on to our last sequence. Hope everyone's not too hot if you're doing it in the afternoon. It's really hot. Okay, alright then. So into position, make sure you can see those toes. And 3, 2, 1, into your single leg lift. draw that tummy button back so it's keeping you nice and stable. Long with that top leg. What you don't want is that that rib is coming up towards your hip, or you're going to be exercising in a bit of a wonky way. Good. I'm going to do 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest. Oh, this is getting more and more like hot Pilates now in this sun. Okay, so just give your legs a bit of a shake about. We've just got the last one to do on this side. So we're working the underneath leg now. So this top leg should theoretically be getting a little bit of a breather. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. So then back, really try and switch that top leg off. It's really easy for the top leg to come away and start doing its own thing. So really focus on those feet staying together. Good, almost there on this side. Okay, we'll do 3 more. Last one. Good. Well done. And rest. So have a little bit of a breather before we move on to our next side, or our other side, should I say. So just into your cat stretch. Give that back a little stretch off. Push back into your child's pose. Good, and we'll make our way over onto our other side. Okay, so just seeing, I think you can see me, okay. Okay, so remember we're starting off with our single leg lift, making sure that the hips stay nicely stacked. You haven't got one hip coming up towards your rib. This is going to be difficult for me to time. I think I'll take my watch off actually, or else I'm going to be moving all over the place. Okay, so count me down. 3, 2, 1. Remember, if you want to have your arm up, you can. So really trying to focus on that foot landing and taking off in the same place, so keeping that leg nice and long. If your leg starts to come up, so your one foot's in advance of the other foot, you're going to start bringing that hip up towards your rib and dropping that underneath waist, which you don't want to be doing. Okay. 4 more. And last one. And have a breathe for a second or two. So remember, for your next one, we're working this inner thigh. So your double leg lift, you're lifting your top leg with your underneath leg theoretically. Okay, so we'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, off we go. Remember, inner thigh is that bottom leg is doing that work. So breathe. Don't allow those feet to come apart. Okay, we're going to do 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, and rest. Good. Hope you're all still with me. Right, have a few, well, we'll have a little bit of a rest and then we'll move on to our last 2 sets. So remember, you're coming into your single leg lift this time. So upper leg doing the work. So 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Making sure that the leg is taking off and landing in the same place, so you're not moving back or forward. Remember, if you do wobble, put your hand down. Much better than wobbling about and building up the wrong muscles. Tucking back with that tummy button. Almost there. Good. Hopefully everyone's still breathing. Use that breath flow. Okay, 2 more. And have a breather for a second or 2. Right, we're on the home straight now, people. Nearly finished. So take the attention off the top leg now onto your underneath leg. Make sure your legs haven't come too far back. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off we go on that underneath leg. So it's really completely switch that top leg off. Keep breathing. Remember, you can come into your arm up position or your torpedo position if you so desire. So if you're in your torpedo with your arm over, you find that that'll stretch the upper part of your body, well, the upper side of your body, should I say. Okay. 2 more. Underneath leg, remember, and rest for a second or two. Okay, we're nearly finished now. Sorry, we have run over slightly, I think, on the hour, but that's fine. Okay, so we're going to go with our last set now. So we're starting off with our single leg lift. So 3, 2, 1, off we go. So remember, keep breathing, keep that breath flow. It really helps, especially as you start to get to the end of a class. So timing it with your movement. It helps keep the movement slow as well. Okay, not too long. Keep that leg long, so keep the hips nicely stacked. Don't allow that rib to start coming up. Okay, you're almost there on this one. We're going to do 3 more. And rest. Okay, people, 1 more to go. So this underneath leg's got a little bit of work to do, and then we'll move on and just do some stretches to finish off. Okay, so make sure you're not rolling out of your position. Top hip stacked over your underneath hip. Arm in whichever position you want it in, so you can either have it up, over, or on your top, or you can have it there if you need to. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, off we go. So take the attention onto that inner thigh to do that work for you. Let's go into the full torpedo for your last few. Okay, we've got about 10 seconds left. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. So 1, breathe, 2, and rest. Well done, guys. That's the end of your sequence. So we'll just move over onto our backs now. So I'm going to come this end so you can see me better this end. And just take a couple of seconds, just take some breaths. Just allow your legs to get the feeling back in them. Good. Okay. And then we're just going to give these hips and your glutes a bit of a stretch. So usual stretch exercise. So just cross your legs. You can either just take the leg across, or if you prefer, you can bring your leg up with your opposite leg. I prefer this one, but it's however you feel you're stretching your body in the most effective way. Just breathe. Okay, and then we'll have a swap onto your other side. Again, you can either take the leg across the body, or you can lift your leg, whichever you find better for you. So you're stretch should feel mildly uncomfortable, but don't push too far. Good, and then back into your start position. And then, excuse me, take one leg straight, bring the other knee up towards the body. Stretch off the front of that hip. Make sure the leg's not rotating outwards for this one. And we worked these quite hard at the beginning of the class, so give them a nice stretch off. Good. Just bring your legs back to start position. Just allow your knees to fall over to the side. Take your arms out to the side and just roll the head in the opposite direction. Again, over to the other side. Just head and go in the other direction. Good, and back into the centre. Okay, we'll just roll over, just on forefront. Remember with this exercise you can do it standing up if it's more comfortable for you. And just give the front of the legs a stretch. And rest and have a squat. And then we'll just come onto the back, get that back stretch off through your cat stretch. So just bring the back up towards the ceiling, and gently dropping down without pushing the head back too far. Again. Okay, and then we'll come back into your neutral position. We'll tuck those toes underneath. Just stretch off the hamstrings. So we're just going to push the legs straight. Gently walk the hands towards the body. Just stay down for a couple of seconds. Give the back of the legs a stretch. Heavy arms. And then we'll come to your standing position. Just reset that spine gradually and slowly. Then just take your hands into your prayer position. Keep the tailbone tucked, stretching up. And we're going to come into a stretch for the front of the body. Then clasp the hands, push them away, drop the head forward. And relax. Well done everybody. Hope you enjoyed the class, and I'll see you all virtually next week hopefully. Have a good week everybody. Stay safe. Bye.